2019 was the year I decided to leave my home country to move to Iceland. I was 21, fresh out of college, and disappointed with the opportunities in Portugal. So my partner and I packed our things and moved to Reykjavik to work during the summer. The plan was to save as much as we could and return. Well, that did not happen. Instead, we kept staying, and it took us 6 years to finally decide to leave. These years were filled with amazing memories and experiences, but also hard times, and it just felt like it was finally time for a change, to take control of our life and make our own choices instead of letting life control us. I might go more into detail about my life in Iceland and why I left if someone wants to hear more about that, but for now, I want to focus on the future. Before I even moved to Iceland, I've wanted to start a YouTube channel to share my creative projects. That plan kept being postponed due to 1,000,001 reasons, mostly because I feel very vulnerable when posting online. But it has been almost 10 years since this wish materialized, so now is the time to pursue it. Moving to Portugal meant I have to live for the time being with my parents, my partner, and my Icelandic cat, which meant a lot of renovations. I had to make my childhood bedroom accommodate our new life and turn a balcony into a catio, and I intend to share that process with you. One of the first things I had to do was to build a catio. My bedroom has access to a big balcony that is shared with more bedrooms, so I had to find a way to close it off so my cat wouldn't wander into the other rooms, and also to stop him from wanting to jump into the tree in front of the house. I had planned to do this by myself, but my dad decided to help me, which means he built most of it, so I didn't film much of the construction part. The initial plan changed a bit as we went along, but basically our idea was to attach 4 poles to the balcony and pass a net behind it. I bought 15 meters of net, which was around 20 euros, so it was a really cheap project as we had the rest of the materials at home. We didn't close the top of the catio because my cat doesn't climb and the net is really high, but be careful if your cat is more adventurous. I then added an old bamboo lattice that I had laying around so it looked nicer, and those were the main changes for a while, because the most important part was the fact that my cat could go outside and was safe, which meant I could finally focus on renovating the bedroom. The first big step was to declutter. This was hard. Not only have I not lived here for more than half a decade, but every time I visited in the summer, I never had time to take care of this bedroom. Plus, before I left, I was a very disorganized person and honestly a bit of a hoarder, so I had a big headache to deal with now. I had to go through boxes and boxes of random things, with things like school books from when I was 6 years old and random receipts. I got discouraged so many times. I simply had too many things to organize, and it felt like in the process everything was becoming even more disorganized, which made me quite anxious. There was even a point where I could barely walk without stepping on something. But I kept pushing through, and eventually the room started to take shape, and it was even nostalgic as I found many childhood trinkets, including DIYs I did when I was a kid. The next step was to repaint the bedroom. It had never been repainted, which means the paint was older than I am. It didn't look great at all. There was paint missing, cracks, plant roots, and mold. So the walls had to be cleaned, bleached, patched up, and sanded over before they could be painted. That was difficult on itself, and then came the painting part. It was tiring and time-consuming. But the final result was amazing. No more ugly walls, and no more black triangle, which was covering some hearts I tried to paint when I was a kid. Another big thing we had to do was to finish the flooring. The wardrobe corner wasn't finished, so with the help of my dad, we cut some wooden planks, attached them, sanded them over, and stained them so it could match the existing floor. But there were also some watermarks near the window that had to be dealt with, and after sanding and applying wax, this was the end result. The baseboard is also missing in some places, but to be honest, I got a bit lazy and I haven't done it yet, and maybe I won't. After this, we installed some curtain rods and built a wardrobe. As with everything in this project, and in this channel, as it is part of my personality, everything was done with sustainability in mind. I always try to reuse whatever I have before buying new, and in this case, we also try not to spend much money, keeping these low budget friendly. The shelf you see here was actually a door from a broken wardrobe, and most of the furniture in the bedroom were things I already had, except a few things I bought secondhand. which means it doesn't look as Pinterest worthy as I would like it to be, but it works for now. It's just that it doesn't make sense for me to invest now in furniture that maybe I won't use once I leave my childhood home. I prefer to wait until I have my living situation sorted and then buy new pieces. The nightstands and the shoe cabinet were bought secondhand with the intention of customizing them. My initial plan was to paint the shoe cabinet this baby blue and paint my old dresser this glossy burgundy, as I don't really like that you can see immediately that these are from IKEA. But I decided to not do it for now for the reasons mentioned before. When watching a renovation video, there is always this expectation that everything will look perfect at the end, but the reality is that these projects take time, in my case 6 months at least. And in my opinion, if you try to rush it and buy everything at once, it will not look as put together or curated. It will lack personality. So as much as I would like to show you a Pinterest perfect room, that is simply not reality, and maybe it won't be for a while. But I can show you my initial plan for this room. This was my plan for the wardrobe, which looks pretty similar to the reality, so I'm quite happy with the result. As for the bed, I had planned to DIY a fabric headboard, which hasn't happened yet, and I gave up on the big rug, as the room is small and it wouldn't be practical. The curtains are pretty much what I wanted, but I ended up not putting shelves above the dresser for now. I also planned to DIY some bedside lamps out of some crocheted doilies that belong to my grandma, but I don't really feel the need to have the lamps there for the moment. Overall, even though I didn't do everything I had planned to, I'm really pleased with how it looks. While it is a small room, everything has its place. Looks tidy and cozy, although a bit bland at the moment. But my least favorite part is the litter box situation. It is a big eyesore. I don't want it covered because it's not healthy for cats, but this means I have to sweep my bedroom every day, and the box is huge, which makes it hard to conceal. But for now, it will stay next to my tiny desk. As you can see, it looks 1,000 times better than it did, and it will look even better with its final touches, which I will update in a future video, as well as the rest of the things I did in the catio. I will end this video now, as I don't want it to be too long, but make sure to subscribe so you can see the rest of the renovations, as I have lots of ideas to complete these spaces. Thank you for watching!